are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is Friday, July 8th, and we have another episode here of The Issue for you guys. Loaded episode today. We got a lot of news. One with Baker being traded to Carolina. Did not see that coming. We'll get to it.
We actually predicted that he wouldn't go to Carolina, but, you know.
A miss is a miss.
Whatever. We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah.
Hits and misses will be in the first segment. Tim will have a rant on Baker to close out the first segment. The second segment, though, divisional predictions are back. The NFC West to start it off.
It feels good. It feels really good. So, this is one of my favorite times of the year, right? We kind of lead into the NFL season, which is 100%. That is my my primary favorite. That's number one. The best part of the year is the NFL season.
Yeah.
Number two is the 8 or 9 weeks leading up to it, which this week marks 9 weeks.
We are getting close, and it feels good.
Like 9.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Insane. Feels amazing.
Getting very close to NFL football. So in the second segment, we will have our NFC West divisional predictions, first one of the year. Very excited about that. And then to close out the show, in the third segment, to wrap it all up, we will have the next installment of our top 25 quarterbacks of the last 50 years. This week, numbers 15 through numbers 11.
15 through 11. We start getting. We had, a couple current players. No, maybe just one so far. I know we had Russ last week.
We had Eli last week. Eli Manning, not current, but more current than most.
Right. So this week, we have one current and two current.
And
two recently retired,
yes,
and one legend. So you kind of get a broad spectrum in today's five.
This is by far so far my favorite five that we've released.
Easily.
This will be week 3 of that. So,
yeah.
Also hope you guys had a safe and good 4th of July, solid 4th of July weekend. Can't believe it's already July 8th. I mean, kind of missed the boat on the actual day of the 4th of July. But, lots of stuff all over social media. People going nuts on the 4th. So hope everybody stayed safe, had fun, family time, personal time, whatever you did. Hope you had a good 4th.
I feel like I missed the boat on just June in general. Where did June? It was just May, 20-something.
Yeah, I don't know. June flew by. I'm assuming July will probably do the same. But anything to get us NFL football quicker, I'm kind of for.
I'm with it. That's fine by me. And I'm kind of done with the whole really hot and then rain a lot type of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Just give me consistency.
Yeah. Big fall guy. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's get into hits and misses. So at number 1, Baker was traded from the Browns to the Panthers for a conditional 5th-round pick, and the Panthers are going to pay half the salary. I said I wouldn't build around Baker, but he has some talent, right? I would say he's talent-wise a top 25 to 30 quarterback in the world, which is definitely a start in the NFL. There's 32 of those jobs open.
Yeah.
I think he deserves to be one of them, but I said not super likable. I'm not sure he's the man in the locker room, right? Calls out medical staff. Didn't work with OBJ, a bunch of stuff like that. Yelling at coaches.
He's very abrasive.
Very abrasive. And I said this. I was saying this right after he beat Pittsburgh. Right, he had a bunch of in the playoffs at Pittsburgh. Was having a bunch of people backing him, right, saying, "Oh, the Browns should build around him." I said, "Nah, I don't think so." The pushback was insane. He's gonna get about 9.5 of his $19-ish million salary from the Browns to not play for them.
Yeah, they're paying him to leave the town.
The Browns, who are, remember, paying absurd money to a guy who has lawsuits against them.
Oh my gosh.
Leaving them with 0 valid starting quarterbacks on the roster, are paying you to play for a different football team. Like I said, I wouldn't build around him.
No, I mean, it's kind of like, you get... It happens all the time on social media. You'll see people get in an argument and say, "Oh, well, how about you just leave then? I'll pay for your plane ticket. I'll buy your way out of here."
Yeah, no,
that's 100% what Cleveland did. They didn't want him to play for them so badly that they paid to have him leave, and not just a little bit, a substantial amount of money to say later, please don't play for us anymore.
I agree. Miss number 1. So I've said Baker's not great. He's decent though. I think there's places where he would fit. I think would be at least a better fit in Seattle. I think somewhere throughout Detroit, interesting idea. I think he's better than Goff, slightly.
I would
Here's the
take
thing
him,
with Goff. Goff's dependable. Goff's not going to say anything over the top. I don't want to say dumb, but I mean dumb, right? I mean Baker says a lot of
just ill-advised
questionable
things.
So I will say Goff might be a little more dependable, a little, brings the temperature down in the room as opposed to Baker, but Baker's a better quarterback. I thought there were better fits, though, than Carolina. That's my point. Their own line's not very good. I think their weapons are kind of overrated. They're good when they're healthy, but C-Mac's often hurt. DJ Moore feels more like a number 2 than a true number 1. Like a more Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin type good. Not necessarily a 1, I don't think. So we'll see. I didn't think it was a great fit, but he's there anyway.
I mean, the thing with me on this whole Baker to Carolina thing, he's never going to have the roster he had with Cleveland.
Yes.
Cleveland is the best he's had it or is ever going to have it, and he blew that. So, I mean, with a less dependable run game, I would say when C-Mac's healthy, he's just as dependable, if not more dependable, than a Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt duo. But,
close.
I mean, if you can't do it with that duo, how are you going to walk in?
And that offensive line, and a coach of the year, and a really good defense.
How are you going to walk in and take a running back that has been injured for like the last 3 years consistently and build around that?
And a not good offensive line, and Matt Rule, who knows when he's going to be fired or if he get whatever.
I don't see it.
Hit number 2, I've said... Okay, so I don't want to overreact, right? The Yankees lost to the Pirates on Tuesday, right? I was there. I still think they're fantastic. I think they're probably poised for, getting to at least the ALCS, right? I'm not going to overreact about a midweek pre-All-Star break Tuesday night loss to the Pirates, right? But I've said it multiple times. I'm concerned about the long-term efficacy of home run or bust mentality. So they had like 9 Ks in the game, which isn't crazy, but 7 of them came within the first 4 innings, and there were some big spots. They left 6 guys on base in those first 4 innings against Jose Quintana, who, I mean...
He's not good. He's not a great pitcher.
Not a great pitcher. Not a great pitcher. But over a 7-game series, I worry about that.
I knew you were going to the game. I went and had and looked at the starting pitcher matchup. Ridiculous. The difference between the two.
Quintana and Taillon.
I cannot believe that the Pirates pulled that one out. But then again, I mean, like you said, if you don't hit home runs in a game, it's done for you if you're the Yankees. I mean, you are completely dependent upon your stars showing up and hitting home runs every single day in and day out, and I'm not sure that's the most dependable or consistent way to go about things.
Also, let's not forget they have the most walk-offs in the league this year, so that doesn't normally, playing a lot of close games, normally that's more of a 50-50 split as opposed to the Yankees' close game split right now. So the record, they're good. Little overinflated, though.
Yes.
Miss number 2, I got to give credit where credit's due here. Chet Holmgren balled out in his Summer League debut, but I'd like to repeat that part. Summer League debut.
If you didn't catch it, we'll highlight it here.
Summer League debut. I don't know when anybody's became an NBA star, even an all-star, based on their Summer League, especially from their singular Summer League game. Yeah. No one really cares, seriously. I mean, really. It's not like he's playing for a roster spot or anything. It does not really matter. It matters for guys who are fringe roster guys. He's not. He's going to make the roster. He was the 4th or 5th overall pick, right? I mean, obviously. Oh, good Lord. But at the end of the day, played well. I think this take that, I have that Chet's not, he's going to be more of a bust, is more of a long-term take. So I'll eat the words for right now. Hopefully a larger victory down the road. We'll see.
I think when you made the prediction, you said in an episode in a year or 2 from now. So you got a year or 2 from now to wait till it plays out. And let's see how you do in the actual NBA in the league.
Season.
A summer league does not really count.
I agree. It's a debut. Relax.
Yeah.
He broke the blocks record. He's 7-1. I expected him to do that.
I mean, if Aaron Rodgers goes out there and for some reason plays in a spring training game and balls out, or not a spring training game,
a preseason
game.
Same thing.
And balls out, are we going to go ahead and crown him MVP for the season? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not the real thing.
Hit number 3. I think the Steelers are such a good organization, right? But I did say I disagree with them not starting Kenny Pickett. But I also said during that, hey, Pittsburgh knows what they're doing for the most part, so maybe we just sit back and trust them, right? I don't think they're dumb by any means. They've been successful for 4 decades. I'll trust them. Well, of course, their top 2 picks are preseason all-NFL rookie team. All right, George Pickens at wide receiver and obviously Kenny Pickett at quarterback. So the other people were taking notice as well. The Steelers are a good organization. All right, miss number 3 here. Deebo Samuel being on a different team. We predicted a draft day trade with the Jets. Clearly didn't happen. He's still a Niner. He's been going to minicamp, although he's not been actually practicing. He was there, though. He's talented. I'm not as shocked that the Niners won him, but I did expect him to be gone at this point. We both predicted it. Wrong there. So yeah, there's hits and misses on a decent Friday. Been a rainy week, but not too bad here on this Friday.
Hoping to brighten up a little bit here, but the days in Cleveland are not getting any brighter.
You're right. It is there are cloudy skies in Cleveland, but so actually let's just transition to that. So obviously, if you haven't heard, the Browns trade Baker Mayfield to the Panthers for a conditional 5th round pick in 2024, and they agree the teams to split his finances, which it's about $19-ish million, which is rounded. I think it's 19.2 or something like that. Whatever,
something like that.
It's round to 19, and they're going to split the salary, so it's 9.5 per team. So that's the deal. It'd be very easy to come on here and just be like, see, I told you Baker sucks, which I did a little bit. I'll take the little pat on the back, but now let's be a little bit more realistic, right? I wouldn't say Baker was a hit in Cleveland, but I think it would be unfair to say that he was a miss, right? I don't think he was a bust by any means. At the end of the day, if you told me that an 0-16 team would get Baker Mayfield and eventually win a playoff game in Pittsburgh, you would have signed up for that as soon as you got drafted. As a Cleveland fan, I would have. They're now relevant, right? They are at least a little bit to his credit, right? I don't think he was the driver of the bus, but at the end of the day, you have to be at least competent to lead your team to the playoffs and win a playoff game on the road against your division rival. Not only your division rival, but the Steelers, right? They've been big brothering the Browns for existence?
For the entire existence of the franchise.
Since Jim Brown retired.
Yeah.
So it'd be really easy for me to sit here and be like, Baker stinks. I don't think he's great, but he doesn't stink.
No.
Not bad. Here's the issue, though. With going to Carolina, people are like, I'm excited for his second opportunity, right? So mostly, second opportunities, like a Carson Wentz, are usually with better football teams, right? I think at least in the last 10 years, Super Bowl year aside in Philadelphia, I don't think you can really argue that Indianapolis hasn't been more well-run, right? You draft Andrew Luck, you were really good for a while. Even post Andrew Luck, you've had a great offensive line, a good running game. You draft defense really well. Your coach is solid. Stability throughout. As opposed to Philly, who fired a guy who just won a Super Bowl, hired a young coach, which that's fine, chose Jalen Hurts over him, who isn't really that good of a passer as a quarterback. Makes a lot of sense. So, that's a second chance that kind of makes sense. Drew Brees, a second chance that makes sense. Going from the Chargers, they move off him for Phillip Rivers. Fine. Goes to Sean Payton, who makes him, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. That's a second chance that makes sense, right? A lot of them around that makes sense. Here's one that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Going from a top 3 roster in football, maybe not now, but when Baker was playing last year and especially the year before, OBJ, yeah. Jarvis Landry, David Njoku, Austin Hooper, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, a top 3. I still think Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think it was the best line in football. You cannot argue outside of the top 3. Good pass rusher Myles Garrett, good secondary Denzel Ward and others. Linebackers were kind of weak, but the 2 teams in the Super Bowl last year had weak linebacking cores. Doesn't really matter that much. Coach of the year at one point, Kevin Stefanski. Go from that to Carolina. Who knows when Matt Rule is going to be fired, if he will be fired, when. His future doesn't look great. There's already been rumblings about it. There was last year. Defense is good, not special. Young and ascending, I'll give them that. Offensive line is bad. Weapons are a little bit overrated and injury prone. I said in earlier, I don't think DJ Moore is a true number 1. I think he's more of a number 2. C-Mac is always hurt. Tight end position's weak. In a increasingly tight end healthy league, right? TJ Hawkinson, Travis Kelce, George Kittle. These are all stars. Darren Waller, impact players.
Even Pat Freiermuth. He had a great...
Great
first season.
Yes. I'm not sure how that transition works. I will say they can't be any less stable as an organization than Cleveland, so I guess that's a step. I don't know if they're a step up. They've been to a Super Bowl more recently. So I don't think it's a step up, though, in culture. I think it's about the same. that to me isn't a second chance that bodes well for him. Right? I think there were better options on the market. Now, I'm not sure what the package, or even if New Orleans was interested. I thought that was a better option. Yet Detroit, in the last couple days, there were rumblings that they were a little bit more interested. As it got nearing this move here, they were starting to get interested. Now, I'm not saying Detroit is historically good, but I would say as a franchise right now, I actually love what they're doing on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah.
Defense isn't completely lost after this past draft. We'll see how it goes. There's a defensive coach, so maybe he can help improve it, Dan Campbell. So I think there were, even the Seahawks, you could argue me into that's a better situation right now than the Panthers.
And I could see that.
Actually, we have the Seahawks, we're going to get to it later, but we have them beating the Panthers. So, and the Seahawks aren't a good football team. They're going to start Drew Lock at quarterback, right? So
it's going to be horrific.
It's easy to sit here and be like, oh, Baker sucks. No, he doesn't suck. His time in Cleveland was a success, but the second chance, I'm not sure it makes sense for him.
It's just so... Usually, when somebody gets a second chance, like you're saying, at least one area, if any, are better than the situation you came from. Like, at least you can go and pick out a group, whether it be the defensive backs or whether it be the pass rush. Or I don't think you can go to any area of football between these two teams and say Carolina beats Cleveland in this area.
Even at the time of the peak of that Cleveland roster, even now probably I don't think you can either.
I would say maybe now, but you would struggle to get 1 to 2 of them. But like 2 years ago, Cleveland roster 0.
Maybe pass rush. The Panthers had a pretty good pass rush last year, but with Myles Garrett, is it really that much better?
No. So now this raises questions. We were talking a little bit about it earlier. What do you do with Sam Darnold if you're Carolina?
You're paying him a lot of money. I don't know what his cap hit would be if you were to cut him or release him or whatever.
Because now that's a big question mark.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of suitors for. I don't even. You know what? We have a little bit of time here in this segment to kind of BS a little bit. Let's see. What is Sam Darnold's cap hit? Let's see what Sam. So Sam Darnold has an 18. We'll call it 19. 18.88 or 86. I'm sorry. So $19 million for Sam Darnold. And they'll only pay about 9.5 for Baker.
You're taking up a lot of money with quarterbacks.
That's a lot of money. I don't think you can cut them.
You can't just cut that, because then who's your third guy?
Like a PJ Walker, and then they just drafted the guy from Ole Miss,
Matt
Corral. Yes, thank you. So 2022. Gosh. If he was cut pre-June 1st, the dead cap would be the entire salary. The entire almost $19 million. So you would lose. They would still go against your cap, and he wouldn't be on your team. I don't think here's the thing. I don't think it's a bad idea to keep him. They're not in the Super Bowl window anyway, so it's not like they are desperate for $19 million to push towards a Super Bowl or anything like that. And at the end of the day, do we trust Baker? He was hurt last year. Do we trust him to go in and play 17 games at a high enough level to where you don't think at some point you will want to pull him and see what Sam Darnold has? Not that we know what he has, but you get my point.
Yeah, at least see.
Give him another shot, even for a game or two. Hope you get some magic in a bottle.
Paying him $19 million, you should probably at least.
I say you might as well keep him. I say you might as well just keep him.
Yeah, you have to, but
it's Baker's job. I don't think that's a question. I think Baker's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold.
Oh, 100%, and I don't think they go out and get Baker to sit on the bench. Because Baker's not the kind of guy you just want stewing on the bench. The less he talks to people on the sideline, the better you have it. So get him out on the field, get him away from the bench.
I don't know.
I see this possibly creating noise. I see this possibly creating turbulence, drama out of Carolina.
I think it 100% does.
They don't need it either. If you're trying to rebuild, you don't bring in more issues. You're trying to rid yourself of issues and start to bring in prospects, start to bring in guys that you want to build around, that you want to pay long term. And I don't think Baker is the guy that any team wants to pay long term right now. I mean, the dude barely had a market, and he had maybe 2 to 3 teams offering for him, and these 2 to 3 teams are horrific teams in the NFL.
I feel kind of the same about how I did when the Steelers got Pickett, for completely different reasons, right? Obviously, Pickett has nothing that we've seen off the field issues, but kind of the same reason that hey, I mean, at the end of the day, the Panthers are upgrading at the most important position, so it's not a total loss. But like you're saying, in a rebuild, we need a loud, noisy, averagely talented guy. I'm not sure that's what we're looking for.
No, it isn't.
I don't know.
Either way, that wraps up the first segment. Make sure you stick around. The second segment is coming up next. We have all of the NFC West divisional predictions and divisional superlatives. Who's the best quarterback? Or no, we don't even have that.
MVP,
Who's the MVP?
They're going to be quarterbacks almost all divisions.
Almost all of them. Who is the offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, breakout player of the year, and coach of the year from the NFC West division? All coming up next in the second segment. Don't go anywhere.
All right, we are back. Second segment, Friday. We're already 8 days into July. Seems kind of crazy to me. Whatever. I'll go with the flow.
It is nuts. It's crazy.
Weather's been decent, kind of rainy this week. Not bad to cool it down, though. It's been pretty hot, as it normally is in, July. So, yeah, I'm like, that makes sense, I guess.
No, I mean, we're pretty much on par with a normal July, I would say.
Right. So, yeah, it's the issue.
No cicadas this July. That's a plus.
Well, what's it? Once every 17 years. So, I mean, yeah, if you're playing the odds, I mean, yeah, it's a good bet. Let's just say that.
Every year, I feel like there's some new bug. I saw something about some water spider or something like that that's supposed to be drifting across from East Asia or something. I don't know. It's July. Everything seems to happen in the summer.
I just don't get it.
We're doing all right there.
I don't want water spiders, though, man. What is that about?
It doesn't sound great. Or hanger spiders. It's something like that. Don't quote me on it.
Keep them over there on the West Coast. They're coming through from Asia through the Pacific. Keep them over there. That's fine. All right, well, second segment, issue, Friday, July 8th. Here we go. Divisional predictions. We got the NFC West. It's our first week back doing predictions.
So happy about it.
So is this our third go-around at it?
This is our third year of divisional
so we do it every year. Third year here. So we'll go NFC West, then we'll hop over to AFC West, and just kind of keep going like that.
Yep, we do the same order every year. Seems to work out.
Same order every year. Hopefully we get some of these right. It's an inexact science. Who knows? I will say, if you order them in the order of the quarterbacks, you got a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
And so that's probably gonna be a common theme if you want to try to predict what we're gonna predict.
A little tip.
That's a good one to go with.
Yeah. That one's usually pretty solid. We have a good way of going about it. Last year was a little bit of a crazy year. This year, I'm pretty
confident.
I know these picks for the NFC West will be pretty good. So, without further ado, let's go. The NFC West divisional predictions for the 2022 season. Let's go.
So we're gonna start at the bottom. If you're new to this, we always start at 4 and go to 1. So let's go for the Seahawks. Projected record, let's go 4-13. So having such little wins will tell you who we think they're going to beat, right? I think they probably beat the Falcons, the Jets, the Giants, and then the Panthers. Right, here's the thing. They play the Panthers later in the year. Who knows who's going to be starting a quarterback? That team might be checked out. Not that anyone really fully doesn't try in the NFL. It's their job, right? Everyone's competing for a job, playing to put food on the table a lot of times. But let's not act like the intensity after you've won 3 games all season for the Panthers in week 15 is the same, because it's just not. Let's just not pretend that it is. So I think those are probably their 4 only wins, right? So you lose Russ. You don't have a great offensive line. I don't think you have a true number 1. I think DK is close. Super high end 2, more of a low end 1, if you're going to argue that. Even his teammate at Ole Miss, who was more underrated than him, and A.J. Brown, has become a better NFL receiver, I think, so far.
Yeah.
He's now with Philly, but I don't think they do have a true number 1.
Drew
Lock's going to start. Pass rush is bad. Expensive, not great secondary. An aging defensive coach. I think they're overpaid at a lot of positions. I go through the schedule, find me the wins. I say that a lot. I think we say that all the time. Find me the wins here.
Yeah.
I don't...
That's where the intro came.
Is that still in the intro?
It might have been the first one or the second one.
I don't know. We've had a couple intros, but it was in the intro at one point.
Yeah. It's really tough to go through that schedule and pick something out where Seattle does anything better than 4 wins. We tried to give them more than 4 wins and try to think of ways let's try to predict an upset or two. It's almost impossible in the rosters to bet.
I think the Panthers is an upset.
They're going to go into almost every single game this year and be outmatched at almost every single unit.
Especially quarterback, which we know is the most important position. It's not even an argument.
No.
Okay, Seattle in the basement. Number 3 in the division, right? Second to last. Here we got San Francisco. 8-9, I think, is what we're looking at for their record. Here's the thing: their schedule is kind of tough, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely not an easy schedule, and with a basically rookie quarterback, I'm really not sure what to expect. Right? This is me predicting Trey Lance to have some growing pains. I do think over the next 5 years, Trey Lance is going to end up being a pretty dynamic quarterback. Right? He's big, he's strong, he moves pretty well. He's got a nice arm. This year, though, I don't expect him to go out and be able to win some of those games that Jimmy Garoppolo's experience can kind of gut them to wins. So I think they're going to lose some close games. It's going to be more of a growing pain season. Not to mention, in a weapons league, they don't have any defensive backs to even steal a possession back. And they're going to have to win some shootouts in those games. Plus, I don't know what's going on with Debo. Is he going to sign? Is he going to play?
Yeah.
George Kittle, I love him, but he's frequently hurt, which means you could have an offense with your 2 best receivers, either one not there and 2, the other one hurt. So for a young quarterback, that's not super dependable, but I will say they got a good pass rush, really strong coach. So they'll be able to get around 500. There's no 500 anymore. They'll be around 500 just because good coach, decent pass rush, good stability. But a young quarterback, weapons are kind of unreliable. Who knows?
My thing with San Fran is I just have a big question mark around Trey Lance, and they are the ones that are causing the doubts because of their indecisiveness with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, I
think if they would have came out and said Trey's our guy.
If you have faith in Trey Lance, you go in, you make him your starter, you throw him through training camp as the starter, and you don't keep Jimmy G on the back burner just waiting around.
Right.
I think it sends mixed signals, so I'm not quite sure what to expect from Trey Lance because of that. It's doubtful. You can sit here and doubt Trey Lance a little bit for their indecisiveness, but I do think he has some of the intangibles that you need to be a great quarterback in this era in the NFL. You need to be strong. You need to be able to move. You have to have a good deep ball. You have to be able to
extend plays,
move the pocket around, and make throws, athletic throws on the run.
And he can.
I see him being able to do all that at the next level, but
maybe not quite as consistently this year.
Yes, and if you're gonna raise that question mark now.
That's another point with the Baker Mayfield trade that I didn't even think about until right now. What's that mean for Jimmy G? What signals does that tell you? Because I have a hard time believing that the Panthers wouldn't go after Jimmy G
before Baker.
Right? So what's that say? Either what the Niners are asking or what their desire to trade him really is.
Right.
Number 2, let's go with the Arizona Cardinals. About 9-8, right? I think their schedule's not great. So they probably get swept by McVay.
Yeah.
The Rams kind of have their number a little bit, right? They probably sweep Seattle, so that's good. 2-2 in division. Then you probably split with San Fran, about 3-3 in division. That's obviously average, right? And that Week 18 game is going to be insane. So it's the Niners versus the Cardinals. I think both are going to be, about 8-8 at that time. It's going to be interesting.
That last 9-8, 8-9 right there. Are you going to be 500 or are you not?
Yeah, I agree. And I worry with D-Hop out for the first 6 weeks with a tough first 3 games. I don't know if they'll recover from an 0-3 if they can at least get a 1-2 to a 2-1 in those games. They would be looking at 10-7, 11-6, but I think they probably go 0-3 without him. Don't love that.
Right, and the thing to look out for with that Week 18 game being so decisive, it could be very decisive here in this division because let's remember the NFC is not nearly as loaded as the AFC is. That playoff race, that could be a wild card spot.
That 9-8 is going to be one of the last 2 wild card spots. I agree. And here's the thing: who knows? I worry with Arizona a little bit. The fact that Kyler's beat up at the end of season, so is he even going to be available? What percent of health is he going to be in that last game? Who knows? All right, let's go with number 1, the Rams. I don't think this is crazy, right? I always hesitate to just crown the former champion a champion again. People are always, they're the best team just because they won it. Hold up, we'll see. But I mean, who have they lost and who have they gained, right? So they lost OBJ. Okay, you gained Allen Robinson. You lost a DB here. You get Bobby Wagner as a linebacker, right? So you bolster the defense a little bit. You re-sign Aaron Donald. You still have Matt Stafford. Your running backs were fine. They didn't lose a whole. I think they got a lot better. I think there's 3 games that I feel decent about them losing, right? I think the Bills beat them to open up a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. When they go to Arrowhead in November, don't love that for them. And then at Tampa in prime time, I don't love that for them either. And then I think they probably lose one of the next 3, either Green Bay at Lambeau, although I think that's doubtful, the Chargers Week 17, or one of the 49er games, because I think Shanahan, he's been really good against McVay. So it leaves them with about 4 losses. That'll probably put them in, first or second seed in the NFC, right about where they should be. I don't know what the argument would be against that.
No, yeah, that's right about. They're not going to be any lower than first in the division. I don't see the Rams slipping up here with this roster, with that level of coaching and Sean McVay. I just don't see it happening.
Look at the graphic right here. Top 3 to 5 in almost every position that matters, if you include coach's position, just loaded top to bottom. Yeah. Really.
And to run back through, so we got the Rams in first at 13-4, Cardinals in second at 9-8, the 49ers in third at 8-9, and the Seahawks in the basement of the NFC West at a crisp 4-13 record. Something we always do to go along here with the divisional predictions. Not only are we going to give you the records, but we're going to give you some of the players to look out for. So if you're into fantasy football, maybe looking to draft in some of these guys, bolstering the lineup a little bit, get you some wins here. So let's go into the superlatives for the NFC West.
All right, we'll start with the MVP. I think Matt Stafford is the clear choice here. So MVP, you're naturally probably going to get a quarterback. I think we've said quarterbacks are going to be most of the MVPs for the superlatives in all the divisions.
Just the value placed on the position.
I just really don't think there's anyone close. I like Kyler, but I don't think he's at that level at all. I don't even think he's even close. Talented, yes, but is he at the MVP level? I don't think so.
And he would be the quarterback in that division that would be next in line in experience and performance.
Right.
And no, he's not anywhere close to a Matt Stafford. He didn't come into a franchise and take them to a Super Bowl the first season. Granted, he's younger. He doesn't have as much experience. But I think Matt Stafford, like you said, especially with 2 years in the Sean McVay umbrella, come on.
The second year is, I don't think it's crazy to say he'll get 10% better. And if you look at his stats, 10% better would put him in the top 3 in the NFL. So, yeah, Matt Stafford.
At MVP.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Offensive Player of the Year, I think Cooper Kupp. First, broke the record and for what, most catches in a season, I think.
Most catches.
Yeah. And it was close to yards. I don't think he got yards
after catch was second of all time or something like that. Something crazy.
Here's the thing about Cooper Kupp is I think his game is going to age really well. You hear him talking. He's not just a freak of nature that goes up and makes jump ball catches. He is open almost every play.
Yeah.
And then the versatility, you can do an end around and hand it to him. He can go down the field and make big catches. Down the field, he can do a little slant route, a screen pass. Intermediate routes, he's fine with. He'll go over the middle. He'll make catches on the sidelines. He can do just about everything you need him to do. Mm-hmm. I don't see a big hole in his game. The catching is fantastic. What's the weakness? I don't get it.
He creates a ton of separation off the line of scrimmage. His footwork is unmatched, and the versatility. You can put him as the outside receiver, as the one, and then you could even move him in, play him in the slot. The dude can fit in anywhere. He plugs and plays, and also his knowledge of the playbook is off the charts. I was watching an interview with him. Just the way he was talking and how in-depth he was able to get about everything and how he picks apart defenders. Yep. One of the best 25, 30-minute interviews I've ever listened to. Can't remember who did it. But nevertheless, it was great. Cooper Kupp, Offensive Player of the Year.
All right, let's go with Defensive Player of the Year. I think Nick Bosa is going to be my pick for this. I think he's the only way that San Fran gets above 500. Now, we don't think they will, but I think Nick Bosa...
if they do, he'll be the one that pushes them.
The way that he can turn that edge from the outside as an outside edge rusher. His first step is up there with T.J. Watt as the best in football.
Yeah,
I think he is probably the second or third best pass rusher in football. Him, T.J. Watt, Khalil Mack, and
Aaron Donald.
Well, he's interior.
Yeah.
Edge rusher, maybe Chandler Jones. Really, I don't. It's a very, very short list. His brother Joey. It's a very short list. So defensive player of the year seems good. Plus, it'd just be so common to be like, Aaron Donald. But here's the thing. Aaron Donald, not that it's been a massive decline, but he's not necessarily the Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor dominant player that he once was, 3-4 years ago. Mm-hmm. Still a really good player. Definitely one of the best interior defensive linemen.
For sure.
But from a value standpoint, I think Nick Bosa, edge rushers are generally more valuable. Defensive player of the year seems right for me with Nick Bosa.
Especially somebody that's going to be so valuable to that specific team. I think him on that edge for that defensive front is going to be the only reason that they start to get through and rack up sacks this season. So, yeah, Nick Bosa at DPOY seems absolutely perfect.
Okay, breakout player of the division. Let's go with Rondale Moore. So he was the 3 or 4 on the depth chart last year for Arizona. Second-year player out of Purdue. So he was 4th on the depth chart or something like that behind A.J. Green, Christian Kirk, D-Hop. First of all, D-Hop's going to be out for the first 6 weeks. He might be the number 1 guy on the depth chart week 1 through 6. So he's going to get a lot of snaps, a lot of looks, a lot of targets. I think he's going to show out.
Yeah.
Speed, agility. He's got good hands. Not super big, but really speedy, really shifty. I wouldn't be surprised if I look up 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns later, and he is one of the better slot receivers in football. So we'll go Rondale Moore to kind of have a breakout season. Not that his rookie season was bad, but I think this season will be that much better.
And like I mentioned coming into this segment, if you're looking for guys for your fantasy team to pick up in those later rounds of the draft that people might skip over, Rondale Moore could pick up.
You could probably, so wide receivers usually go anywhere from the first to the, top wide receivers for first to the, 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah.
You could get him as a steal in the 6th as your number 2 receiver easily.
Little advice there for fantasy. I know that's the drafts will be coming up for the leagues pretty soon here. So
yeah, within the next month or two. So
start getting some advice out at least, right?
Right. Coach of the year, Sean McVay. So, we could try to be fancy and be like, Pete Carroll's going to lead a bad team to almost 500. Well, first of all, I don't think he will. Second of all, let's not beat around the bush, right? Kingsbury's fine. Shanahan's fine, but, it's Sean McVay.
There's something
Is there a lot of, description that we need here?
It's just he has so many things that set him apart. His knowledge of the game and his memory is insane. He remembers every play from every team he's ever coached or played on. He could probably go back and tell you the record of his football team when he played 8-year-old tackle football for the first time.
There's a chance.
He's that kind of guy. And he just wins. He creates greatness wherever he goes. He coached tight ends in Washington for a couple of years, I think in 2014, and then goes over, and he has been fantastic in that head coaching role. But yeah,
I was gonna say here's the thing that nobody thinks about with Sean McVay is I think the culture that's been created there in LA is just phenomenal. You can plug and play. Von Miller comes in, balls out, leaves for more money, and says, what, that was the best time, maybe of my life. I wouldn't trade anything for the Rams. OBJ says it was one of the best experiences of his life. Guys want to play there. That is a winning culture, an inclusive culture, and it's proven results. Really. So, yes, obviously coaching. I think also the culture that he's helped create has been fantastic. Probably one of the best in the league.
Oh, absolutely. And creating a culture in an environment like a Los Angeles. Let's not be, they don't, for being such a big market in a big city, they don't exactly have the biggest fan base and diehard fans. Sure, there's
they're getting there, but
they're getting there. But he's been the reason for building most of that and
right.
what they're at right now and the success they've had and still being able to dominate the NFL. It's very impressive. Sean McVay as the top coach in the NFC West. I don't see an argument there. But you can see the full list here just to run back through. At MVP, we got Matt Stafford. Offensive Player of the Year, Cooper Kupp. Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa. Breakout Player is Rondale Moore. And to finish it all up with the Coach of the Year for the NFC West, Sean McVay. No surprises there. Guys, stick around for the third segment. We will have the next installment of the top 25 quarterbacks of the last 50 years, 5 decades in the making, and numbers 15 through 11 will be given. Don't go anywhere. What's up? We are back. It is the third segment on a Friday, July 8th. Really good segment here. We have not the rest, but the next, 5 quarterbacks to give you from the top 25 quarterbacks list that we have been working on now for the past 3 weeks. Numbers 15 through 11 today to be given some more recent guys, which is nice. You guys will enjoy the video a little bit more today, as it's not all like taken on a black and white camera from, I don't know, like the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah. It's more recent guys that you would know a little bit better. So, without further ado.
Makes for good content. But yeah, so we have, like I said, numbers 15 through 11 on our top 25 quarterbacks list of the last 50 years. Let's get right into it here. Here we go.
All right, 15, Patrick Mahomes. So, he's a one-time Super Bowl champ, one-time MVP, one-time Super Bowl MVP, one-time Offensive Player of the Year, first-team All-Pro once, a second-team All-Pro once, four-time Pro Bowler. He leads in all NFL history. I don't remember what the minimum amount of throws is, but in career passer rating at 105.8. So let's not forget the insane playoff run to the Super Bowl in, 2019. So he started off with a 24-point comeback against Deshaun and the Texans, going 23 of 35, 321 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks, and a rating of 135. He then leads a 10-point comeback against Ryan Tannehill and the Titans with yet another 23 from 35, 294 yards, 4 total touchdowns, no picks, and 120 rating. He then leads a 10-point comeback in the fourth quarter alone against the 49ers in the Super Bowl, going for 21 unanswered in like 7 minutes. He went 26 of 42 with 286, 3 total touchdowns, 2 picks, and a 78 rating. He averaged like 111 pass rating for the playoffs. He is the 15th all-time quarterback already, and I think he'll only continue to rise. He's one of the most talented guys that we've seen ever in the league. Mahomes at 15.
Completely agree. I mean, there's no arguments from this side. An arm talent like that, the athleticism that man possesses, and the arm angle, like that, I can almost say that he pioneered the whole just throwing from different arm slots. Forever it was come back, have it at the ear, bam, snap, go. He's been throwing around defenders now for like 2-3 seasons. It's been insane.
Sidearm across the body, doesn't matter. All right, number 14, Aaron Rodgers. He's another guy who's a very, very beautiful thrower of the football. He's a one-time Super Bowl champion, 4-time league MVP, 1-time Super Bowl MVP, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 1-time second-team All-Pro, 10-time Pro Bowler, holds the record for the best pass rating of a season at 122, I want to say. He's got the best career touchdown-interception ratio. He's 10th all-time in yards, 5th all-time in touchdowns. I would say, is his playoff success up to par? No, but is his regular season resume absolutely unbelievable? Yes, it is. 4-time league MVP is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And when you look from a talent standpoint, one of the best arms of all time, one of the most accurate passers of all time. Does he get a little bit careful with the football at times? Yes, but at the end of the day, is he one of the top 15 guys? I think so. Some would argue higher. I value winning championships a little bit more. I think you do as well, so that's why he's a little bit lower than some people might have him. But he's a fantastic talent, and 14th all-time is nothing to scoff at. Aaron Rodgers at 14.
For sure.
Okay, number 13. Let's go with Big Ben Roethlisberger. So he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's a Rookie of the Year, 6-time Pro Bowler, most career 500-yard passing games with 4, most career, or tied for the most career games with a perfect pass rating, again 4, most completions in a game, I think it was 47. He's 5th all-time in yards, 8th all-time in touchdowns. And also, let's not forget that he has 2 of the most impactful and kind of impressive plays in NFL history of all time. So let's set the scene. 2006, divisional round of the playoffs against Peyton Manning in Indianapolis. Jerome Sure Hands Bettis doesn't fumble all season. I think he might have like 1 fumble. Fumbles at the goal line. It's picked up. It's going the other way. I believe the guy's name is Nick Harper, if my memory is that good. Oh my God. He's going the other way. There's only one guy in the way to tackle him. It's Big Ben. and he tackles him by a shoelace. Right? If they return that, Indy most likely wins. That means Peyton's in the Super Bowl. Big Ben's not. Peyton probably wins that Super Bowl against Matt Hasselbeck, right? I'll take Peyton Manning in that Super Bowl, which means Peyton's got another one. Ben's only got one. That changes career trajectories.
Yeah.
Impressive. Secondly, set the scene, 2009 Super Bowl. 30-some seconds left on the clock. They're at about the 20, 25-yard line, something like that. No, they were inside the 10, I think. Doesn't matter. They're in the red zone. He scans the field. He extends the play. Finds Santonio Holmes in the corner for perhaps the best single throw in NFL history on the biggest stage in the sport. If that misses, Kurt Warner gets another one. And, as we talk about Kurt Warner, might be one of the snubs on this list. But, if you have a question, at me on social media, and I'll talk about it. But that changes trajectories of his career. If Ben doesn't get that, assuming he gets, the shoestring tackle, that means he only has one. Completely changes the trajectory of the Steelers for the next 5 to 10 years. Warner gets another, and Warner might be a top 15 quarterback of all time. If he gets that Super Bowl, Larry Fitzgerald's looked at completely differently. Edgerrin James is looked at completely differently. That is one of the best singular throws in NFL history, one of the most accurate throws in NFL history. Big Ben at number 13.
Love it.
Number 12, Drew Brees. One-time Super Bowl champ, one-time Super Bowl MVP, two-time Offensive Player of the Year, one-time first-team All-Pro, four-time second-team All-Pro, 13-time Pro Bowler, second all-time in yards, second all-time in touchdowns to only Brady. So, he's first among normal people. Brings New Orleans a Super Bowl this season of, Katrina, I believe, right?
It was.
Just spectacular. His stats are jaw-dropping. And he's been one of the most steady all-time, just fantastic teammates. A really good guy in the locker room.
Yeah.
A pinnacle of what you would want to build your franchise around.
The franchise guy.
And I think what he was able to do with turning his career around, I think it's super impressive. If Ben's stats were a little bit better, I'd probably put him above Brees. But being second all-time in the two most important categories as a quarterback, how do you not have him above Big Ben in this situation?
Yeah.
And I think he was better. He was just a better quarterback, right? Did he win quite as much? No. But was he in Pittsburgh with that culture, those defenses? Tomlin, Cowher? No, he wasn't, right? He was in New Orleans, who's been historically bad. He won them a Super Bowl, 13-time Pro Bowler, right? He was a top 5 to 6 quarterback almost every single year he was in the league. That's so impressive.
And let's not forget that the Super Bowl he won was an impressive comeback in itself. The onside kick, and then leading them back down, and I think 40-some seconds all the way down the field. They go down, they score, they win. He has etched his name in greatness for NFL quarterbacks. Number 12 on the list is very fitting for Drew Brees.
All right, number 11. I think Terry Bradshaw fits here. I think he is the slightly better Steelers quarterback. Now, Ben is statistically better, but there's two numbers that stand out to me. 4-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Super Bowl MVP, actually has a league MVP as well. He's a 1-time first-team All-Pro, and he's a 3-time Pro Bowler. Here's what makes him better, and here's what makes him so good. Absolutely nobody in NFL history has been better than him in big games. Nobody has taken more of a leap from their normal baseline regular season to how they perform in the playoffs. He has a career pass rating of 71. I think it's 70.9 or something like that. His playoff pass rating is an 83. He was a significantly better quarterback in the playoffs, which is just insane. And in the 4 years that they won their Super Bowls, not only was he at a better at an 83 rating, the 4 years that they won it all, he averaged a 91.5 passer rating for the playoff runs. So whenever they needed him, whenever it counted most, Terry Bradshaw stepped up, an all-time great, an all-time winner, and that just can't be discounted. Terry Bradshaw at 11.
The dude, when the big lights came on and were shining the brightest, he stepped right up, filled in those shoes, and played his butt off for the Steelers. And one of the biggest reasons they have as many Super Bowls as they do is Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah.
But that finishes up the list for today. That is 15 through 11. Make sure you come back next week. That will be numbers, 10 through 6, I'm assuming?
Yep, 10 through 6.
There we go. My math serves me correctly. But, guys, thanks for stopping by. That's all we have for today. Go check out everything on social media. Instagram is at @the_issue podcast. Twitter is at the issue podcast. Find everything in the link tree.
TikTok's been booming.
Yeah, TikTok has been booming as well. So go check everything out. You can find it all from the link tree in the description of the episode or anywhere where you may listen. Guys, thank you so much for listening, and that was The Issue.